right, left arm.
Here we go. Can she get it? Or is Heather going to...
Oh!
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Are you kidding me? She's still up there. All the blood rushing to her head.
20 seconds!
Super blood.
A super black for Jody Fred!
You're kidding me!
Heather Reckless kicks out! Here she goes again! And there it is!
That's
One, two, three! Jody Fred pulls off the victory! Playing in that.
Welcome to a special edition of The Pit Stop, brought to you by the I-70 Hot Tag. Tonight, we'll be joined by one of the most popular referees in the Midwest. He's called some of the biggest matches and been part of the most memorable moments in Journey Pro, Central States Wrestling, St. Louis Anarchy, among many others. Tonight, we'll sit down with Nick Chinn. Plus, the World League Wrestling Shut Up and Wrestle Tour continues. We'll discuss when and where you can catch WLW action live. Last and certainly not least, tickets for KCXW Destiny are going quick. There's only a handful of front row tickets remaining. We'll chat about that, plus much more. Don't go anywhere, because the Pit Stop starts now.
This is Mighty Micah.
This is the connoisseur Niles Blanquet.
Crack open a cold one, because this is the Beer City Bruiser.
This is Moonshine Mantel, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag, where they always keep it 100 proof.
And now, CR Media presents the I-70 Hot Tag with your host, Chaos Chase, and the real Josh Elliott.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Chase, aka CR Media. To my right is my friend Josh Elliott. You are watching a special edition of the Pit Stop. If you are not out watching something else on a Friday night, come check it out. We are sitting here tonight, and we are going to be going over a few things, and we're also going to be sitting down with the ever so popular Nick Chinn, the referee of the Midwest, causing all kinds of havoc. So, Josh, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We had 2 nights in a row. I'm starting to feel like you.
There you go. There you go. Hey, get about 4 or 5 more days in a row, and then you'll be on
We'll talk,
Conrad
right?
Jr.'s level. So yeah, guys, we're live right now on the I-70 Hot Tag Facebook page, the I-70 Hot Tag YouTube page, and then of course, as always, we are live on Twitch, twitch.tv/crmedia1988. If you are watching on Twitch, go ahead, hit that follow button, hit that host button, that share button, all of that stuff. And then Josh, why don't you let everybody know where they can find the I-70 Hot Tag on social media, sir?
Yes, sir. I run the I-70 Hot Tag on all the platforms. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. So any of those platforms, we're there. Like, follow, share, subscribe. We go live once or twice a week, with the Pit Stop being our second show. Again, this is a special edition Pit Stop. We normally go live on Mondays for the Pit Stop, but we are going live here on Friday. So you can also follow me at the real Josh Elliott on all those platforms as well. Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's my personal account, so you can follow me there as well.
Absolutely, guys. And then, of course, mine, CR Media 1988. Make sure you hit that follow button on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. Surpassed the 700 mark on TikTok. It's only about 300 or 295 to go before we can go live on TikTok. So definitely go get that a follow. But Josh, I always like to give you the honor. Why don't you introduce our guest tonight, sir?
Absolutely. We have one of the storied referees here in the Midwest. We have Nick Chinn with us tonight. Let's bring him on in.
Hi. Hello, everybody.
How you doing?
I'm alive. Another day in paradise. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Oh,
We
yeah.
appreciate you taking the time out to do this with us. You know, if you've seen our show before, you know we bring guests on to kind of get our viewers to get to know the performers and the workers, get them to know a little bit about you, and yeah, that's kind of the whole deal here. So we appreciate you taking the time out.
Absolutely. I'm, for the most part, an open book, so feel free to ask your questions, and let's saddle up and shoot. You know what I mean?
I like it.
Absolutely. Nick, I always like to start all these interviews off, man, by asking, tell us and our viewers, who is Nick Chinn?
Well, the person or the referee, because I can do both. So,
Let's do both, man. Why not?
all right. Well, I guess I'll start with the reffing part, because that's a little bit more simple. So I broke in about 2008 in the Kansas wrestling independent scene. Wasn't much really there, to be honest. It's pretty dry for the most part, besides like Central States Wrestling and then whatever else was running at the time. I was always a fan growing up. My stepdad, to his credit, got me watching WCW at age 7, and kind of like, I've never done heroin before, but it was literally like a shot right in my arm of just falling in love with wrestling instantly. And then 2008, I went with a buddy to an independent show out in some small town, and he brought an extra ref shirt, and I asked if he needed a referee, and they said, sure. There you go. Good luck. Figure it out. And I was like, okay, I used to watch. I mean, I still watched, so I knew kind of what the referee role was to the extent, and just kind of it birthed from there. And then over time, I got semi-trained by somebody that was reffing at the time. His name was Lucas. And then my buddy Tommy Campbell, aka Monster Chaos, his wrestling name, he started training me in the ring just to how to take simple, like do basic fundamentals of wrestling so I could, learn the basics. And then I just took off at that point, just ran, just said, let's go. Let's see where this takes me. So that's kind of where I am today, more or less, was just a love for wrestling. And then, just living life in between, I guess, in and outside the ropes for the most part.
There you go.
Nice.
You kind of mentioned you were watching WCW at the age of 7. Who were some of your favorite wrestlers back then?
Oh, Goldberg was the first one for sure. Just because that was when he was starting his undefeated streak, and I watched him win the world title against Hulk Hogan in my living room. And when he beat him, that was pretty cool. And then during that time, I discovered what WWF was, and I saw Stone Cold, and then that was a gift and a curse, depending on who you talk to, because my mom didn't like me flipping her off excessively. I didn't know what that meant. And then I saw DX, and then I was telling people to suck it, and that got me in trouble too. So again, gift and a curse, but Stone Cold, Goldberg, The Rock, those all kind of come to mind growing up as a kid, and DX at that time for sure, or my early childhood memories.
Absolutely. Nick, what fantasy booking here, if you could pick any 2 wrestlers in the world today to have a match that you would referee, you would get to call it, what would the match be and why?
Gosh, that's loaded. This match already happened, and I wish I could have been the ref for it, but I'm gonna use this one as probably there's a lot of matches for sure, but one I could think of was Stone Cold versus Kevin Owens. I was a big Kevin Steen fan when he was around in ROH. Met him. I call my kayfabe dad, and then I've always been a Stone Cold fan. So I got to watch those two. I was driving back from Texas during the Collective during this year's Mania, and I was watching that match driving home, and it was just a cool nostalgia match for myself, and that was one I would have loved to be a referee for sure. That's one I could think of. But man, I remember just watching that. I was like, that's so cool to watch 2 of my all-time favorites wrestling each other in a dream match, in my opinion.
Yeah, that match was I didn't know what to expect from that match going into it. Of course, as a wrestling fan, you're excited about it, but then, another part of me was like, gosh, it's been 20 years since Stone Cold has stepped in the ring. So is he going to be able to, is this going to look like Ric Flair's last match or, and in 5 minutes into the match, I was like, dude, I think he could wrestle again, but
right.
he's gone on record saying that was going to be his only dance. So it was a real cool way to go out.
But how cool is it for me? Thinking about it, watching somebody like that, watching your favorite wrestler growing up and getting to wrestle him, that's just something that you can only fathom of. And the fact that he got to wrestle his hero more or less at WrestleMania, and he came out of retirement just to have that match, that's the bow. That's the bow on top of the present of your career for that, and that's just cool to me personally. I've gotten to kind of feel that in some aspects, and I just can only think how cool it was for Kevin to get to wrestle his hero more or less at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So Nick, this is kind of off script here. What's the biggest crowd that you have refereed a match with, and what promotion was that for? Do you know?
I'm trying to think. I think of two shows. One was in Casper, Wyoming for Bad Boys of Wrestling. I don't remember the guy's Ed Beckley. He was from Beyond the Mat. He had a wrestling company that he combined wrestling and monster trucks and demolition derbies, and they drew about 10,000 people. I think was the number. I recall the number being told to me, and it felt like there was a lot of people there. That would probably be the biggest crowd, and then the most recent one I would think is Wrestling Revolver. That was one that drew about close to 600 to 700 people as far as live attendance goes. And that atmosphere was just a whole nother level. It's like that Des Moines crowd that comes to those shows is always ready to see wrestling. You know what I mean? They were ready. They were ready to, watch wrestling, and they were along for the ride. So
Definitely. We got a couple comments in the chat. One of our viewers mentioned earlier that DX and Stone Cold both got him in trouble too when he was growing up. I don't know how old you are, Nick, but we're almost mid-30s. I'm 34, and DX got me in quite a bit of trouble too. So
it makes you feel any better. I'm 32, so okay. I just turned 32 about 15. August 16th was my birthday, so.
Well, happy belated birthday, sir.
Oh, thank you. My wife and me are celebrating it tomorrow. We're going out to a hibachi grill in Overland Park, so I get to celebrate with her tomorrow. So looking forward to
awesome. That. Hell yeah, man. And then Greg also said, sorry, I clicked the wrong one. He said, this may be my favorite guest. He loves Casper, Wyoming.
I will say it's a very beautiful town, but there is not a lot of things to do there. Nothing against Casper, Wyoming. It's beautiful. The mountains are awesome. The venue was cool, but it's there's not a whole lot really to do. So I can understand why a lot of people came out for that show and to watch wrestling and all that kind of stuff. I would definitely go back for sure. It'd be a nice place to go just to go relax for sure.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to show a picture here. I know you're familiar with Brian Janishek or Brian J. Bebe. He's ring crew with many promotions here in our area. But on the second Journey Pro show, I'm going to show a Chinn shirt.
Yeah, I remember that.
He sent this to us the second he knew you were coming on the show. So
oh hell, I remember that shirt. Yep.
He said he gave you one. He's still got his. So
I've got it still. So it's funny because for the longest time I never really wanted to make merch because I always used to give other referees crap about it because I'm like, we're not wrestlers, we're referees. People don't pay to watch us. Usually they pay to watch the wrestlers. And I'm a hypocrite, I guess, and also gas prices went up. My wife decided to start a T-shirt company, and I was like, "You think people would want to buy a shirt of myself if I made shirts?" And she's like, "You won't know unless you try." So we went for it.
There you go.
And people seem to like the shirts, and we've got some. She's got some other ideas coming up for some more. So I guess I'm a hypocrite for having my own shirt now, but that was kind of the early genesis of the idea. I still got the shirt though. I'd have to go dig for it, but I do have it.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I've got mine on pre-order, so I'm waiting on my Nick Chinn shirt. So we're pretty excited about that.
Yep. I think she just got some more shirt orders. I think some shirts came in the mail today, so she'll probably be working on those soon.
Awesome.
Nice. So Nick, I kind of wanted to peek behind the curtain a little bit. If usually there's 2 or 4 referees roughly at any given independent show. Can you talk to us about the process of how matches are selected between the available referees? Do you guys select it? Does each company kind of pick and choose who referees what match? How does that all work?
So pretty much me, if it's like, say we have 3 or 4 refs, we all get into a room, we tape our fist up and we fight it out, and the winner gets first dibs. No,
Hell yes.
yeah,
Hell yes.
We just fight it out, and whoever the last ref standing gets to pick the matches. No. So technically, it depends. Some companies, like MLW, when I worked there, they kind of already had things figured out, and I was given my marching orders, and I'll do what I'm asked. Journey and like Journey Pro and Anarchy and Central States to an extent, we usually if I'm in charge or if I'm asked to get the lineup, we usually just try to break it up evenly. I don't want to be one of those refs that takes all the names or takes all the big matches and doesn't give anybody anything else. That's just not, I don't like that personally, and I don't like to do that to other people. So we just try to all talk and, make it as even as possible so everybody gets a piece of the pie, because nobody wants to work on a show with that one ref that wants to take all the good matches. Now, there are like at Revolver, I've been told I want you to do this exactly, but then kind of break it up there. So it just kind of depends more or less. For me, I like to be fair with picking and choosing matches, because again, it's not fun if one person gets to do all the fun matches and everybody else kind of gets stuck doing whatever, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So we talked about this a little bit backstage, Nick. In 2017, 2018, there was a spot in Journey Pro. You were the referee. Tell us about that time you landed a suicide dive to the outside.
Yeah, that was a tope Chinn hello is what that was. Suicide dives are through the middle. Topes are through over the rope. So I'll go behind the curtain a little bit on this one. So it's the second Journey show. I get there. I see the lineup. I see I'm working with the Howletts versus the Besties. I'm like, okay, cool. And Matt Fitchett walks up, and he walks up to me, shakes my hand, and he's like, "Can you do a tope con?" I thought about it for 3 seconds. I said, "Yes." "Okay, you're doing one tonight." I said, "Okay, sounds good." "What is a tope?" "Which one's a tope?" "Over the top rope." "Okay, I can do that." So, never done it before, and I was a little nervous, but you guys were there for the show. We were getting to the point of where it happens. Vegas spits on me. He dives over me. I get mad. Yeet! There I go. And part of me is like, if I die, I die. If I don't, this is going to be really cool. Luckily, I didn't die. And I think people still remember it to this day. And you can thank Matt Fitchett for creating the shenanigans that I now do so often nowadays. So he is the brainchild behind that, along with some other things too, which we may or may not talk about. But he's the one that trusted me to doing it for the first time. And as of right now, I think out of all the topes, I've hit 5, and I've hit 4 out of 5 successfully. So I've got my success ratio is pretty good. So
tell us about the one that you didn't land successfully.
Oh, all right. So I'm in Des Moines, Iowa at 3XW, and Revolver was running the Saturday after the show I did at 3XW. Sammy was in the crowd that night, and Skeletor, he was the ref, one of the refs at 3XW. He's the skinny referee guy. He's like, "Hey man, I want you to come meet Sammy and see if I can get you booked on the show." And so I go shake my hand out and said, "How you doing? My name's Nick." And he's like, "I'm Sammy." And I'm like, "I'm Sammy." And I'm like, and then Skeletor's like, "Hey, this referee's really good, but he could also do a tope con." And he's like, "You can do that." So I pull my phone up. I show him the clip. He's like, "Can you do that on Saturday?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "Okay, you're booked." So that happened Friday. And then I thought about it all day, which was the worst thing I could do. is I thought about it all day. Mind you, this is the first time I've been at Revolver, the first time I ever with Sammy, and my first match is a scramble, and I'm doing the dive. And for some reason, I got nervous, which I usually don't do very often, but for some reason I was really nervous. My wife was down, or my girlfriend at the time, her kiddos were there. Their first time being there. I'm just like, okay, let's do this. And I just, for the life of me, I had cement shoes that night, and I went boingy, 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 and the top rope bounced me off, and I flipped over, and the crowd still gave me a really good reaction, and I'm on the ground like, oh my god, I completely fucked this up. I'm not getting booked again. And somebody grabs me, he's like, get up. So I got up, and I'm like, grabbed the guy, threw him in the ring, and we continued onward. And I was so dreading going to the back, and I go to the back, and Sammy's like, actually, I went back and watched it, and you can hear Sammy on commentary be like, like Sammy freaks out on commentary. And then I go to the back, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry I didn't hit that very well. He's like, nah, man, you're cool. It was still awesome. People loved it. You're going to go viral. I said, okay. So luckily for me, I got rebooked, and I've been booked ever since. So a beautiful disaster in a way that I guess, I went for it. So
Hell yeah, man.
I was grateful to be able to come back, and they still like to use me.
So we've got a question from one of our viewers. He says, so not only that was the wrong one. I apologize. He's super excited because you worked in Casper and you worked in Des Moines where his family lives. So, but here was his question. He said, there's videos of referees having to give the X symbol when people are legitimately hurt. He wants to know if you've ever had to do this, or did you think you were going to come close to having to do it during a match?
So I've never had to actually, I have kayfabe used it from time to time, but that doesn't count. I've used it legitimately, probably never, but I've come close at least once. There was one Journey match that I almost used it. It was a tag match. I believe it was Shotzi Blackheart. I'm trying to remember. Shotzi, Laney Luck versus Marty Bell and Queen Bee. Brooke Valentine. It was in Kansas Hall. Shotzi hit Brooke with a forearm and gave her, I think when she hit the mat, it gave her a concussion, or she got a concussion prior to that and started puking in the ring. And I almost threw up the X on that one, but I told Marty she needed to tag Brooke out because, this wasn't looking good. And luckily they did that. I had to clean puke up with a rag in the middle of the match. That wasn't fun. But luckily for her, she ended up being okay. But that was like the closest time it almost happened. And then I've had a couple times where I think at Magnum Pro, this was, I think, a year or two ago, Wyatt was wrestling Duke Conley, hits a superplex. Duke hurts his ribs, landing funky on the superplex. And he's telling me he's hurt. And I said, what do you want to do? And then that was like, an audible was called, and the match pretty much ended right after that. So usually I've never had to, I don't think I've really had to throw it up per se, but I've dealt with injuries in the past, and it's not fun, but anytime someone gets hurt, we got to look after the safety of the wrestlers. But I always try to get consent prior because, you don't want to prematurely end something if it's not necessary. Plus the guys know their bodies better than I do. So again, who am I to be the final judge on that, if that makes sense?
Absolutely.
Yep. So Nick, you were, a couple months ago, there was a Journey Pro introduced their Journey Pro title, and they had their first ever title match in the complete dark, the arena illuminated by the crowd's cell phones. You were the referee for that match. And it was in our intro. If you guys saw the countdown, the crowd absolutely went insane when Christian Rose beat Jeremy Wyatt. What was that like? What was it like being in the middle of that ring for that moment, that match, the whole thing with it being in the dark, no electricity? What was that like?
So actually, Adam was the ref for that match technically, but he got taken out halfway through. I just remember we're about to do the match. I'm sitting with Chris in the back. We're talking, and we're pulling down like the big garage door because it's starting to rain. And I look over to him and I said, it'd be really crappy if the lights went. And the lights went out right as I said that. And I made a joke to Christian Rose about it. I said, wouldn't it be funny if the power went out right before your match? And as soon as the lights went out and the power went out, I went, oh, shit. So I go running to find Rose. And Rose is like, fucking Chinn, I'm going to kill you. And so I ran as fast as my little legs could allow me. And it was like, I'm just thinking, this is just, when it rains, it pours. But then all of a sudden, again, happy little mistakes, like I referenced to the revolver thing, it turned out to being something unique. And, during the match, like I said, Luke interfered, Adam gets killed. I'm the only other ref available. I know Wyatt hates me because a couple shows ago, he took my head off with a clothesline after my
Wyatt hates everybody.
Well, no, he hates me in particular because my kids started the dog water Wyatt chants that you now hear from time to time. They started that at a show in Missouri, and it just picked up from there. So Wyatt was kind of mad about that, and then he proceeded to take my head off a couple shows later. So when I went out there, I knew that if I went out there, he was going to try to kill me at some point. He almost did, which is why I had to get out of the ring. But to answer your question, going back to the moment of when Rose pinned him, it was magical. I mean, it was lightning in a bottle, and you hear that cliche, but there's some truth behind it. It's one of those moments that you couldn't really fabricate. And in pro wrestling, yes, you can fabricate moments to be awesome, but sometimes the unpredictableness of things makes moments better. And I think that for Journey will go down in history as one of the more iconic moments of the company. You crowned your first champion during a thunderstorm with no lights. The fans are pretty much powering the lights with their cell phones, and history was made for that company. And I don't think you'll never be able to duplicate that moment again. So that's why it's so special. But being part of that was always joyful, and I'm glad that I got to be part of it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked probably 100 times on this show about that match, and like magical is the only thing I can think the only word that I think. I mean, I don't even think magical fits it, but Josh and I have always talked about like moments, and I'm not like a real big FOMO guy. I'm not. I don't like it. It would be cool to go and see stuff live, but I'll tell you what. When the Twitch feed went out, and then we saw on Twitter that the lights were out, and then we found a live feed of the fans using their cell phone lights. I got goosebumps, and I was like, I really wish I was there. It was just one of those things where I was jealous of the people in the crowd, and I was like, man, I want to be there to experience that moment, because I got chills watching it on Twitter on somebody's live feed. I can only imagine being right there watching that.
It's like I said, it's just a moment. It's one of those moments you really can't. You will never be able to repeat it. The only thing I can really compare it to, because I was there live, was WrestleMania 30 when Taker's streak was broken. That moment will never be duplicated again, and that feeling in that building when he lost, that's the closest. That's the only other thing I compare what that Journey feeling was in a different way. Like, that was a real upper, and I felt the real downer from the Taker loss. But it's just like you could cut the tension with a knife, and that metaphor just sounds so basic, but it's true. Like, those are moments in wrestling or in general that you will not be able to duplicate. And those are the moments that are what make wrestling its absolute peak of what it's about.
Yeah. The sound and the movement from the crowd that night, like I said, any promotion, the fans could have been like, oh my gosh, this isn't safe. We're getting out. We're going home. The promoters could have been like, sorry guys, we'll have a rematch next month, whatever the case is. But no, like this match kept going on, and there's 5, 6, 7 cell phone lights illuminating the ring while we're crowning the first ever Journey Pro champion. And Journey Pro is just one of those promotions in the Midwest that has a staple. I mean, you think of all the names that have come out of Journey Pro, that have gone through Journey Pro and then gone on to do things. So yeah, like I said, I could go all night about that moment. That moment is very, very special to me. And like I said, it's one of those things where I'm like, I kick myself all the time because, Josh and I both were talking like that night. I talked about going to Journey Pro, and I was going to, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna stay in and save it for another event. And
Oops.
nothing against all these guys that we cover. I'm a huge Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas fan. I'm a huge professional wrestling fan, so this show just kind of fits my niche. But it's really hard to top that moment with Journey. So
Yep.
Right.
they'll never crown their first ever champion again. And that moment was done in such a prolific way. So, yes, awesome.
That it reminds. It's kind of like when, I don't know if either of you two watched NWL when it was around back in the 2017 era or not. But I got the privilege of crowning the first NWL champion too, and that was a special moment too, because you don't
absolutely.
There's a lot of things in wrestling you don't get to do for a first time. And I got the privilege of reffing the first match for NWL, which was Lockdown Briggs. I got a bug. It just got clapped. Lockdown Briggs and Mike's and Seidel. That was the first NWL match we ever had. I got to be part of that. And then Blaine Meeks versus Dak Draper for the title, which crowning the first ever champion. That's something you don't get to do every day too. And then on top of that, I got to help, take part in crowning the first ever NWL tag team champions with the Besties, or now known as the Grindhouse, versus the Foundation, which was Strider and Ace Steel, which it's just, those are cool things you get to be part of. And you don't get to do a lot of first times in wrestling, because everything in wrestling is almost not regurgitated in a way, but it's rehashed, recycled. What's new is old and what's old is new sometimes. So it's kind of cool getting to do doing first times in wrestling. For example, Outlandish Paradise in Atlanta, Georgia. I got to be part of that for the first time. Pink shoes became a thing because of that. Because I wore pink shoes for that show, and I got to be part of that. That was a busy weekend. I flew to Georgia, crashed on Ziggy's couch, and then flew back to Kansas City, drove to Des Moines, and then did the Des Moines show for Revolver that same weekend. Oh, I was exhausted. And then my first ever light tube scaffold death match, which is that was a new thing for myself too.
Tell us about that. What promotion was that? Who wrestled in it? And tell us about the experience.
So that was at Wrestling for Outlandish, or for a Wrestling Revolver for the light tube death match, or for which one do you want me to talk about?
Your first one.
Oh boy. Well, I learned a valuable lesson. I forgot to pack long sleeves for that match, because all my deathmatch referees out there, much respect to you for being able to do this. This was my second one. First time messing with light tubes. It was Jay Chris and Alexander Cole from GCW doing a scaffold light tube death match. I forgot to pack long sleeves. Someone offered me a pair. I said, nah, I don't want to mess up yours. I wish I probably would have borrowed them, because I cut my arms up 6 ways till Sunday because I wasn't using my full brain at that time. And my wife was not happy with me. And then I had to go to my shoot job the next day. No, wait. I had to go back there on Monday. So I wore long sleeves because I didn't want to have to explain to my coworkers what I did that weekend, because they've been like, where are all the cuts from? And I was like, I did a light tube death match. And they're like, that's just a conversation I don't want to have. But then I went to my doctor because I had a doctor's checkup on that Tuesday following, and he was really fascinated. He's like, light tube death match, you say? I said, yeah. Can you explain that to me? Well, it's a ring surrounded by light tubes and a scaffold, and they hit each other, and there's glass everywhere, and I have to do pinfalls, and I'm rolling around in glass, and he's just really fascinated by it. And I was like, yeah, welcome to my side life. Thank you for being understanding and not judging me like a psychopath. So,
I'll be honest with you, Nick. That I'm not real big with the glass. Anytime I see it, it always makes me cringe. And the thumbtacks.
so I will tell you, thumbtacks are not fun, but I would rather deal with thumbtacks than glass. For sure.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Definitely.
Yep. So, so we got a. You mentioned off air you had a. You have a hotel from hell story. What can you tell us about that?
Oh man. I will tell you that I have not been back to that hotel since then. I will tell you I made a friend with the police officer afterwards. So I guess I'll go into a little detail of the story because it's a fun one. Not fun. It wasn't fun at the time, but now I can go back and laugh at it. So when Revolver returned back in 21, I did a show. So prior to that, I reserved the hotel online. They put us in a room. Okay, cool. Like, everything seemed normal. We leave our stuff there. I go and do the show. We come back. I'm trying to unlock the door. It's not opening. That's weird. Then I got to put my ear to the door and I hear music and I said, that's weird. I didn't leave any music on when we left. To find out, when they did our reservation, they put us in the wrong room and they put us in a room that was still available. So when we got back, when we were gone, they put somebody else in our room. So I went from being on cloud 9 all the way back down to earth, and I was pissed. Isn't really the word I could describe how I felt, because somebody went through our stuff. So I got management to open the door. This guy was tripping on some kind of drugs. I'm about to fight this guy at this point because I'm so mad because the fact that somebody went through my stuff and my wife's stuff and was going through it and was taking things out of our bags and was going through it and trying to take my wife's medication that she takes for her, for her heart problems. I was irate, and the manager was staying in between me and the guy, and I'm like, you're lucky this manager's here because I was about to just throw you out of the second story window. So they gave us another room. They refunded us. I called the cops because I'm like, I have stuff we got some of our stuff, but there's stuff missing. Right. And then I went into corrections mode and I called the police. The guy comes in. I still had my suitcase out and he's like, so when we get done with this, I had some wrestling stickers on my suitcase. He's like, when we're done, we're going to talk about some wrestling after this. Okay, sure. No problem. So it kind of eased me there. So I got some rubber gloves. We go back up there, and I go through his entire room like I'm working at my shoot job at the jail, and I search that entire room, and this guy is trying to talk. He's like, don't go through my stuff. And I'm like, this is how I felt when I went through your stuff, and I'm just going through everything. I'm like, this officer's here to cover your ass, not mine, because I would have dealt with you a different way if things were different. But luckily, we got the rest of our stuff for the most part. We still lost out on things, but the management at the hotel they apologized profusely, which didn't help much, but they were able to reimburse us some stuff that was stolen. And to this day, I will never go back there again. And then I remember last time I was up in Des Moines, I was getting a ride and my friend got pulled over, and the same cop that pulled us over was the guy that helped me with that situation. He's like, oh, I remember you. I said, yeah, guess what we were doing? Wrestling. And we started talking about that. So I kind of helped my buddy get out of a ticket, I think. So that was one blessing, I guess, in general. But I guess the moral of the story is be careful where you get hotels. Even though it might be a good deal, it's definitely quality over go with quality always. Don't get sketchy hotels. Man, yeah, that was that just sucked, and I hope that never happens to anybody else in general, because dealing with druggies and crappy hotels don't mix. So
Agreed.
those are bad. Okay.
So not including any of the matches we've talked about, Nick, what's one that sticks out to you, or the best that you were able to referee?
Okay, good, because I have an easy answer for that. Not that I'm trying to put over Revolver, but I got to work with the returning Switchblades, which is Sammy Callahan and John Moxley teaming back up against the Wolves. And I felt like I brought my A game for that one because I had to. There was no other option. You bring your A game when you're working with, John Moxley and Sammy Callahan and Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards, all guys that I've watched growing up and highly respected. But the fact that I was allowed to be part of that, I was like, I got to bring it. And I felt like that was probably my best work up to this point in my career. And hey, when John Moxley doesn't yell at you in the back, you did a good job. So I took that as a win for myself that night. So I would say that match for sure. Another one, excuse me. Another one I could think of. You only asked me for one, but Mike Bailey versus the one called Manders was another one that I really liked. That was the opener to that same show, and those guys are just on another level as well. And I always remember that one too. I'm trying to think of some other matches from this year. This one had some sentimental value, but like Rich Swann versus Scotty 2 Hotty, it was Outlandish 2 for Mania weekend. And I got to be the Rikishi as part of Too Cool and did a dance routine at the end of that match. And I can't dance, but I tried to do a spin-a-rooney, and it looks about as good as you think it sounds. And it's like,
sounds pretty badass.
Yeah, like I remember just kind of sitting there doing the pose, and I'm like, this is so cool. What is my life right now? But I really enjoyed that one just for sentimental reasons. So those are just a couple I could think off the top of my head. And actually, another one, I'll add one more because this one kind of has a lot to do with, I think, getting booked at GCW moving forward. So my second GCW show was in Houston, Texas, and it was Blake Christian's return to the Indies versus Jack Cartwheel. And I have the clip. I might have to share it again. But Jack does a cartwheel. Blake does a cartwheel. And I'm standing in the corner. I'm wondering, like, I'm going to have to do a cartwheel, aren't I? And they go, and they both point like that. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Luckily, I know how to do a cartwheel because my 9-year-old has shown me how to do a really good cartwheel. So I'm just like, here we go. And then eat. And then everybody goes, ah! And I'm like, okay. Because my biggest fear was just eating shit. And, there goes my opportunity. But that match itself, too, was also a fun one as well in general. But that moment sticks in my head, too. But those are just a couple I can name off the top of my head. But if I keep thinking about it, I'll keep going. But I need to stop because we don't have all night to go over all the matches.
No, you're fine, man. Josh and I will be the first to tell you, man. We love stories, so we would sit and listen to them. Oh, I don't know about Josh. Has got a sick baby at home, so I don't know if Josh could last that long. But I'm bipolar and ADHD, man, so I can sit 4 hours and go.
I got ADHD too. Yeah. Gang, gang. ADHD AF. Nah, yeah, I have ADHD too, man. It's something that I discovered last year, actually, and I started taking Adderall, and it's actually helped me a lot. But I didn't know. I mean, I thought I was diagnosed when I was a kid, and I thought it went away. Nope, still there. And it was causing issues with myself, and I went and got help for it, and I'm doing, I think, a lot better. So,
oh yeah, kick ass, Nick. Awesome. I love to hear that, man. The same situation. I mean, I found out more about my like bipolarness, and then went and got therapy and doctors medicine, and so now I feel 1,000 times better.
Right on.
So we've got a question from the chat. Dean Houston wants to know, where have you never worked that you hope you get to someday?
Well, besides the obvious answers, I'll kind of do a couple. There's a couple in my mind for sure. And NWA is one I was thinking of. OVW, I want to try to do Impact at some point. Obviously AEW, if it came up, it came up. WWE, obviously. New Japan, US, I'd love to be part of. Mainly, AAW, I'd like to come back to. I got to go out there for an opportunity years ago, and I like to go back. It's just my goal for this year was to expand, and that's why I kind of took chances on different promotions. That's why I went to Texas for Mania Week. That's why I went to Atlanta. That's why I went to Vegas, for a bigger show opportunity. I guess more or less, I want to just go bigger and better places in general. But those are a couple that come to mind. I like to go back to NLW. MLW. I can't talk tonight. That's another one I want to go back to again at some point because I just really enjoyed working there. And those are just a couple places I can think of for sure.
Fantastic. Awesome. We talked a little bit earlier about your your wife selling your merchandise, t-shirts, trading cards. Chase has a couple.
Thank you.
Where can, other than buying them at the events at the merch table, does she have a spot where she sells this stuff online?
Yes, I need to ask her if she's got her Twitter up for it. Hang on, let me ask her real quick.
Okay.
Hey Jess.
Yeah.
What's the name of your Twitter handle for your shirt company? Wow. I've been hit a lot in the head. Leave me alone.
I heard her go, wow.
You said at avidapparel.com or at Avid Apparel Co. At Avid Apparel Co. I'm sorry, I've been hit a lot and I got ADHD. Don't judge me. I just wanted to make sure I got that right. So sorry, I've been hit a lot over the years. But not by you, but by life and wrestling in general. Thank you. So I just want to make sure I got that right. I didn't want to fudge that up because I don't want the heat with the wife, especially if I'm taking it out.
We get it.
Say you might have got heat anyways just now.
Well, I get heat when I forget to take the trash out. So
yeah, true. Good call.
Yeah,
good call.
But I at least you can. She has her Twitter handle up. Also, you can message her through there, and she's still kind of. We're still in the early stage. She's still in the early stages of getting it up on its feet. But I do appreciate anybody and everybody that has taken time to talk to her at the merch table or order online. It's
man.
A work in progress for sure.
The Journey Pro shirt was kick ass, man.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I wore it the first day I brought it home. So
awesome. And then people seem to really like the quality of the shirts, and that's like the most important thing for her was just getting a good quality and getting different designs that people are interested in. Personally, this is just my preference. I don't like wearing all black shirts. It's just I don't like wearing all black. So that was kind of like I told her my catch-22 was I don't want to be wearing I don't want all black shirts. Everybody does it. I want to be different. If we're gonna do this, let's be unique. Let's do something different and let's get something comfy because I'm comfy. I like to wear comfy when I'm not at my shoot job or not, in the ring. I mean, ideally comfy, but if you ever see me not in the ring or not at work, I'm usually wearing shorts and flip-flops. I'm part of the flip-flop gang for sure. And for me, I want to be comfy when I'm wearing a shirt. So that's just kind of my whole thought process on, helping her start this company in general.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, my Journey Pro shirt's good, and I'm excited to get my Nick Chinn shirt. So.
And I know we got some other designs coming up, and I know we got a special Journey one that we're making that is a Journey appropriate shirt, if that makes sense. BDN shirt, I should say. I heard.
I think I saw her post the artwork for that on Twitter.
Oh no, I haven't even looked at it yet. Oh boy.
Uh,
I was
yeah.
like, I know my
Maybe-
mom's gonna be so proud of that.
Yeah.
My
So-
mom. I will say this: my mom has been a trooper. Like she's been there since day one, since I got into this crazy wrestling world, and she's been supportive through a lot. I think the only time I've ever made her mad is when I only made her mad, but I grossed her out. It was a match that we did with guy that shall not be named versus Buttons of Steel at the Christmas show, Die Hard Christmas show, the first one. And there was a lollipop involved. And it came out of someone's pants, into someone's mouth, into my mouth. To be fair, it was watermelon flavored, and that's the flavor I chose. But if the match was still up, I kid you not, if I can ever find the footage again, you can hear on the comms, or at least on like the mic of the camera, "That's disgusting! Take that out of your mouth! Oh my god!" She was so angry at me for that. And then I tried to give her a kiss, and then she's like, "I will smack the shit out of you." So that was my mom's birthday too, by the way. I was like, "That's a great gift."
That was the last Journey Pro event I attended before the pandemic. That was right at the end of 2019.
So, yeah. Yep, I think that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny you mentioned about like the shirt that your wife's, or like I said, the shirt your wife's working on with one of your other nicknames. So I'm used to shows like Journey Pro. And so CSW, I was a little colorful my first couple of CSW shows. Especially because they had the street fight with the Howlets and the premiere, the first one we went to. So I'm a little colorful. At this past one, they made sure to let everybody know, hey, this is a family show. Please keep, please. So it's like night and day, Journey.
Yeah.
And I started to get one. I think Dallas Cade was the timekeeper, and I started to get a Nick chant, but the other nickname, and and Dallas turned around and looked at me and goes, "No, don't."
Right. So I had a funny story about that. So when Central State started, and I had a couple friends, there's a couple of people I know in the crowd, and I said, "Guys, you can't use that other chant that we like to use elsewhere. This is a different place, so please." Find a new one. Find one that's more appropriate, because I don't want to get in trouble, and you all don't want to get in trouble. So let's meet in the middle somewhere. So luckily, people were pretty respectful, and I'm like, you save that one for somewhere else. It's like, it's just a respect thing. Like, I like to respect the boundaries of a company, and this, one company is more edgier than the other, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
We can. I can like pop. You can like, beer. It's okay. You're not wrong for either or. But again, it's like, I just tell people, I was like, just let's remember where you're at, and just let's all be adults here to the best of our abilities.
Yeah.
Then if that happens, then people get in trouble, and it's like, well, that's no fun. Then it's no fun at all. So
yeah, exactly. Well, like I said, I thought that was funny because even for as much as we love CSW, it took me a couple shows to be like, oh, okay, this is the landscape.
Usually
a little bit different.
Yeah, usually now when I meet people at CSW, they always say, "You look like Patton Oswalt." I said, "All right, I've heard that before. He's funny. I'm cool with that. Just call me Patton Oswalt. I'm fine with that." You'll have to Google that if you're not sure who that is, but we do look identical.
We know.
Yeah, I was a big Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan.
Fair enough.
So what other ventures or bookings do you have in the coming weeks that you would like to promote?
Well, I know Wrestling Revolver is doing their next show on September 17th. And then Journey is doing a show on the 30th of September, which is my wife's birthday. And we're doing that show that day too. So I know she's excited about that, I think, along with her birthday gift. And I think beyond that, I know St. Louis Anarchy is going to be running at the start of October. I think October 6th to be exact. With Surprise
You're
Day.
Dead, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. They'll be back running. And I'm sure there'll be some other things that kind of pop up here and there. Those are what's coming up for myself personally. I mean, in wrestling, it can be kind of sporadic where if a show comes up and I'm available, then I try to go. But, like the most wrestling posters say, cards subject to change. So for me, it kind of comes down to what's available, what's near me, and, is it somewhere I want to go? So kind of the upside to being like an independent contractor, as I like to say, is I kind of get to pick and choose where I want to go. So usually around this time is when I try to do as much as possible, and then kind of start slowing down when the winter weather hits, because I don't like to usually travel in the winter. There's a reason why. There's a story that reminds me why I don't like to travel during snowstorms, which I think would be a fun one to end on potentially. So I get to answer your question. The main shows I got coming up are Tales from the Ring from Revolver. I don't know what they're naming the Journey show on the 30th yet. I haven't heard yet. We'll all be surprised together, which I think is going to be, if you were guys at the one last year, I think it's going to be the outdoor baseball show we did. We're doing that one again. And I've kind of heard a little bit of what's going on. I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to I don't want to get in trouble, but I think it'll be a hell of a show to go to. And then, like I said, Anarchy's coming up on the 6th of October. And then everything else is just kind of a crapshoot. We'll see what happens.
Well, anybody who watches this show knows that Josh and I are huge fans of the Howlets and Micah. So we already know that Micah and the Howlets are going to face Jeremy Wyatt and his bitch brigade. So I'm ecstatic about that.
Adam's going to be having fun with that one for sure, because I'm not trying to get killed by Wyatt again. I've cheated death once. I'm not trying to cheat death again. I'll tell you, I've been hit pretty hard in the ring, and Wyatt is probably one of the top 3 people that just killed me.
Well, hey, you can't or you have to expect that from a guy. He's angry all the time, and I'd be angry too if I had half a nipple. So.
To be fair, when he kicked me in the balls, and I ever have a kid someday, and that kid kicks me in the balls, I'll know why. That's the pain I felt. So you kicked the wrong person, dick. You know what I mean? Like that's just the kind of karma I'm expecting whenever I have a kid. But
there you go.
So again, right at the end of this, Nick, where can everybody follow you on social media?
I keep it simple. Just I'm trying to break 1,000 Twitter followers on Twitter. So if you want to follow me at Chinn_ref on Twitter. I have a personal Facebook. I don't usually that's kind of my personal one. But if you want to try to send me a request, go for it. No guarantees. But follow me on Twitter. I try to be a little more active on there. I make funny jokes. I post about wrestling, things like that. And if you want to buy, merch, you can check out my wife's Twitter handle for her account at, one more time, I forgot the name of it.
We've got it.
Evan Apparel Company.
Yes. You just saved me the heat. You just saved me more heat. Because I've been knocked a few times, and it's been a long. It's my weekend.
You're good.
You're good, brother. You're good.
Thank you. Yeah, if you ever want to get shirts from there, she sells some Journey shirts. She sells my shirts. We'll have some more designs coming out in the future. Yeah, like I said, check that out. And I mean, if you got any other questions for me or anything else you want to talk about, I've got time for one little more piece of business before you have to kick me to the curb and whatnot.
I'm trying to see if we have any more questions in the chat. So how many matches have you refereed?
More than 5 is the short answer. I couldn't tell you an exact number, but I know it's a lot. Go ahead.
I wanted to throw that out there just because, like, it blows my mind. So, like, especially like referees and wrestlers, when when you do it all the time on a weekend basis, or sometimes multiple times a week, you know, um, so like we've had wrestlers on here. We just had a wrestler on, Billy Starks. We just had on not too long
Oh,
ago. Billy Billy has a general idea of how many matches she's wrestled, and she's wrestled since she was fucking 14 years
no,
old,
yeah, I know,
and
right? That's my
she's
wife. My wife likes her a lot.
yeah, she's awesome. She's kick ass. Like,
Oh,
and
totally,
she's
100%.
she's the same age as one of my kids. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
When I was
uh,
14, I was trying to figure out school, not how to get into not wrestling matches.
yeah,
Right.
like, and she's not just wrestling matches. Like, she's wrestling damn good matches.
Oh yeah.
Um, the work she did in Anarchy was just absolutely amazing. Um, but like, she has a general idea of how many matches she's wrestled, and it's like, phew,
I mean,
I mean, if I
there's
was if I was doing it when I was 14, 15, 16, you know, I'm there for the experience, like I'm just excited I did it. Like, to count how many, that's just it's crazy to me. So that's why I wanted to ask if you knew how many matches you've refereed, just because it blows my
oh,
mind that you guys keep that. Some people can keep that in their brain.
I try, but it's like it's almost impossible to keep track of at times. I mean, I've definitely done a good chunk for sure.
Yeah,
And I like to always count. I always like to think of more quality over quantity in some cases. Like it's cool if you've had 1,000 matches, but I think it's cooler if you've had half or a fourth of that, but you look at the quality of work you've done. And I think quality always, I'd rather have quality over like a mass amount of matches, I guess. That's just my opinion, I guess, for the most part. Like
yeah,
I'd rather be working with like, you know, again, like an example, like I'd like to work with people like our Dak Drapers or our Moonshine Mantels or our Kenny Alfonsos or our, you know, Rick Swans or our TJ Duns, people like that compared to like wrestling guys that are, you know, not quite on that level, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to like bury anybody
yeah,
in particular, but
yeah.
it's
No,
like, you
absolutely.
get what I mean by that.
Yeah. Um. So we talked about like the death matches and stuff like that. St. Louis Anarchy had a match not too long ago with our good friend Greg Jovi and Christian Rose. And one of the craziest parts of that match was watching the referee have to count to three with the tax there. Um, you ever had to do that?
Uh, yeah, I've done that a few times. It's really tacky, pun intended. I think the worst one I did at Anarchy was when it was Warhorse versus Nick Gage, and they tore the ring completely apart and they exposed the
Yep.
wood. And I did a pinfall on the wood, and that hurt more than like I thought it was going to. That wasn't fun. I think glass is still the worst thing I've had to roll around in for sure. But
Yeah.
I do remember the exposed ring not being pleasant. That did not feel good.
Yeah. Um, what? Where's the farthest from Kansas City you've refereed?
I want to say probably Las Vegas. I did a few months ago.
Really?
That was the furthest. We drove to Colorado to spend some time there, and then we ended up, flying from Colorado to Vegas, doing Revolver's Vegas Vacation, and then GCW's Downward Spiral, and then flew back that night back to Colorado, slept, and then drove back 8 hours back to Kansas from Colorado. That's probably the furthest. The furthest drive was when me and Adam Kennedy drove all the way to Detroit, Michigan. That was 12 hours. That was rough. And then
I
drove.
bet.
Then we did an Evolve show in Detroit. We crashed at the hotel, and then we drove to Chicago, and then we did the show, and we helped out the show in Chicago, and then we drove back from Chicago to Kansas City in one night. Yeah, that was
Man.
that was rough. I like flying. I'm petrified of heights, but I would rather fly when I can if it calls for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so Nick, again, we greatly appreciate you taking the time to do this tonight. We look forward to having you on again. Cannot thank you enough for taking time to do this. One of the things that we always love to do on the show is at the end we always have our guests say, "This is this is referee Nick Chinn, and you are watching the I-70 hot tag."
I can do that. That's easy peasy. Got work on mic skills. All right. This is Nick Chinn. Wait, how did I say it again? I completely botched it.
No, you're good. Just say this is referee Nick Chinn, and you're watching the I-70 hot tag.
This is referee Nick Chinn, and you're watching the I-70 hot tag.
Love it.
Love it. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, Nick, like I said, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on tonight. Can't wait to see you again. I know I'm going to try and make my way out to Edwardsville. We're also going to do the September 30th show. Are you going to be at Glory Pro?
When are they running?
The 25th.
September 25th.
Is that a Sunday?
It is.
It is.
Sundays can be tricky. We'll probably say no on that one, but I'm going to try to go back in the future. I got to try to take time off of my other job to make that happen sometimes. And I'm trying to build up my days off still. So I kind of burned a lot of them the last couple months. So I got to rebuild them up.
I feel you on that one, brother. I feel you on that one. Well, Nick, again, cannot thank you enough, man. And if you need anything from us, you let us know, man.
Absolutely. I don't know if you've had, I was going to suggest another guest for the future, but I don't know if you've had Adam Kennedy on yet, but I would suggest having him on for a future episode, or even have him we can do a duo with him potentially and do a little buddy cop episode for you. Tell him about our war stories and adventures we've been on.
Adam is he looks a little bit younger. He's got the spiked hair.
He's my how do I say this without coming off really sus? He's my my brother from a different mother. Best way to say it.
There you go.
Okay, I know who Adam is now. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
He's also at Journey Pro in Central States.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. No. We will definitely have him on.
For sure. For sure. All right, Nick. We appreciate it. Have a good night, sir.
All right. You too.
And we will talk to you later, man.
Bye.
Adios.
All right.
All right.
Nick Chinn, ladies and gentlemen.
Appreciate everybody who did join us tonight. Much love. I know I shouted out the followers in the chat. I didn't want to interrupt the interviewer or the interview. I am the interviewer. The interview. That wrestling lady who we saw at CSW Horseman Country.
Yes, we did.
Small ass world. Small world. But we appreciate you joining us tonight, and we appreciate the follow. Guys, as you know, anytime on the hot tag or on the pit stop, for those that are watching that are new, this is a special edition of the pit stop. The pit stop is usually on Monday nights. We did a special edition this one because it worked out with everybody's schedule. But usually we are not live on Friday nights. Now, you have other guests say they are referee Nick Chinn. That's weird. Anyways, we are, after our interviews, we always take like a 5-minute intermission, just so we can get a drink, take care of whatever business we need to. Then we come back for the second half of the show. We just like to close out, talk about current events that are happening here in the Kansas and Missouri area, upcoming shows. So if you live or stay in the Kansas or Missouri area and you want to know what's upcoming in your area, stay tuned. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to break down some news. So don't go anywhere. Like I said, give us 5 minutes and we'll be right back. We're gonna take a pit stop.
Kansas City has a new name in the pizza game. You Want a Pizza Me is Kansas City's only pro wrestling themed pizza food truck. Located across from the Black Box Theater in the West Bottoms, You Want a Pizza Me is dedicated to serving delicious flame-grilled pizzas named in homage to pro wrestling. Come try the High Flyer, El Luchador, Greener Than Grass, and their newest bestseller, The Undertaker. Regular and vegan options are available. They're also dedicated to getting you to eat your healthy vegetables with their selection of salads. Look for the big man in the luchador mask. Follow them at You Want a Pizza Me KC on social media. Kansas City is a top pro wrestling city, and You Want a Pizza Me is your spot for knockout, top of the card pizza. Come get some.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a special episode of the Pit Stop. Appreciate everybody who stayed with us during the break. Glad you were able to join back with us. If you have not, go ahead, hit that explanation point, CR Media in the chat. Also hit explanation point I-70 hot tag in the Twitch chat, and then hit explanation point Discord. Make sure you go follow CR Media 1988 on all social medias, guys. And make sure you follow the I-70 hot tag on all social medias. Look at Greg, man. Greg's stepping up the game. Go, Greg. Why don't you go ahead and hit explanation point Ultimate Sports Talk 2011 in there as well? Get you everybody that's in the Twitch, or anybody that's watching. Make sure you follow Greg on on Twitch as well. Greg is always hanging out on Twitch, doing a lot of cool stuff, man. He
Chinn Ref, what? Join us on the YouTube.
There you go. Yeah, appreciate Chinn coming in and hanging out while we close out this show.
So I did want to before we move on here, he did send me the link. We put her the Avid Apparel Co. We had that on during the interview, but he also sent me the Facebook link, so you can go to facebook.com/Avid Apparel Company to buy any of the shirts, the trading cards that we talked about during our interview with Nick Chinn. Sonny, I saw you. Appreciate you joining in. I know you were excited to come in here. I'm not sure if you saw the interview or not, but it'll be on video on demand. If you missed it, you can go check it out on our YouTube or Facebook page. Or
Absolutely.
Chase has promised to get the last 3 episodes uploaded by the end of the day tomorrow. So even with our fantasy football draft tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a busy day for you, sir.
Yeah.
But all right, guys.
Fantasy football drafts tomorrow?
Yeah, 2:00.
No, I don't give a shit. Anyways, so Glory Pro. Josh and I have talked about Glory Pro quite a bit. I'm super excited for Glory Pro. This will be the first time. This will be the first time that I've gone to St. Louis in well over a decade. This will be my first time going to a wrestling event in St. Louis, so I'm extremely excited for that. Yeah, Sonny knows. Sonny said he'll catch the replay. He was busy celebrating the wife's birthday, and the wives go over. Yes, they do. The wives always go over. That's just how it is, brother.
We've got a couple. Sorry, go ahead.
He said, bro, Glory Pro shows are so much fun. Renee and I hit up one a few years back. Yeah. Josh and I are very excited. Like I said, my first time going to St. Louis in over a decade. And my first wrestling event in St. Louis. So our first Glory Pro event. So Josh and I are super excited.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is once we started this podcast, we were introduced to Glory Pro. We've caught every event on their YouTube page live. We've watched it every month or every other month whenever they have their shows. So the layout of our show, we used to go through and just kind of run down a specific card that was coming up. Rather than doing that, we're going to go over some news topics, some highlights from each company, and as matches are announced, we'll announce those. So instead of going through one card per se, we're just going to go through the entire from Kansas all the way to St. Louis. So Glory Pro, this has been already announced for about a week now, but they did announce that they're going to have Sonny Kiss from AEW coming in to take on Allie Catch. So this match, and it's obviously sponsored by Rock and Roll Fables. This is going to be a fantastic match, and I'm excited for it. We saw Allie Catch in Journey Pro a couple months ago with Effie. So she's done fantastic work, all over. And I think seeing her live and especially seeing Sonny Kiss, we saw Sonny Kiss in AEW a couple times in Kansas City as well. So
yep, definitely
should be a fun match.
Absolutely. WLW, Raheem De La Suede. So Raheem posted on social media that he's done with the WLW.
He's done, guys. If you don't believe me, listen for yourself.
Hard workout. Hard workout. But see, this is what De La Suede looks like. This is what an athlete looks like. None of that out of shape, They can't hang with De La Suede.
Same thing. He couldn't hang with the whole thing. De La Suede.
I mean, let's just face it. I beat Superstar Steve, Austin Muay Thai. I beat Luke Anthony. I beat them all. Man, I beat not only one, but 2 people at the same time. I beat them all. Quite frankly, I'm just done with WLW. It There's just nothing left for me to do. That being said, I'm done. I'm done at WLW. There's nothing left for me to do. So, I'm relinquishing, forfeiting, whatever the term is, my title. Unless somebody proves me otherwise. Until then,
Done with WLW. Raheem Dallas Wade. Dude, this kid, I cannot wait to see him in person. Wherever we see him, it's gonna happen soon. This kid can wrestle. He does that 450 splash like it's nothing. And I can't wait to go to another WLW event. We're gonna talk about them a little bit later about the Shut Up and Wrestle tour. But we got a lot of WLW talk actually tonight, so which is fantastic. So, Speedballs 92. Appreciate you joining in, sir.
Absolutely. I think Speedballs came in. Did he come in on the hot tag, or I think it was the Dynamite show? I know he's fairly new here, so
Nice. Appreciate you joining in, sir.
absolutely.
Appreciate you. So yeah, we're just talking local Kansas and Missouri independent wrestling here. But yeah, man, Raheem, I'm sure someone's going to answer that challenge for that title at the September 10th show. So not sure who yet, but it was just posted a couple days ago. So promoting that. Stars and Stripes, I believe, is the show that is coming up for Stars and Stripes on September 10th for WLW. So
Nice.
good stuff, man. So Anarchy, what we got for Anarchy? We talked about it a little bit with Nick Chinn, but we got another match announcement.
Absolutely. So Anakin Murphy versus Thomas Shire. I'm super excited to see this. Anakin is and it is what it is, but Anakin has always reminded me of, like a Spike Dudley type.
Yeah.
The kid can take a beating, and that's what he's going to get with Thomas Shire is a beating.
Big time.
So
100%. Yeah. We're going to go into this match just like we were going into Camaro Jackson and the big strong boy at Horseman Country. I don't think there's any shadow of a doubt that Thomas Shire doesn't just run over Anakin Murphy. Not taking anything away from Anakin Murphy, because he is he won that the Guys Snacks scramble at Journey Pro, when the one that you went to just before Horseman Country. Looked very good there. We've seen him do a lot of good work. I'm not taking anything away from him, but Thomas Shire is a beast, and I think I think he's gonna roll over Anakin. I really do. And I'm excited for Thomas as well. He's gonna have he's going to Germany in October to wrestle a match. So that should be a fun time for him. I'm doing my best to get a Thomas Shire on the I-70 hot tag before he goes to Germany. We'll still trying to work things out, but time's ticking. Got to get him on the show. So
absolutely. Because somebody else we talked to is going to Germany too. Was it Gary J?
I think it is Gary J. Yeah, it was Gary. Gary and Thomas both are going. I think it's for separate. It might be for the same company, but it's not. They weren't on the same graphic, I don't think. So I'm not sure if it's the same company or not. But
interesting.
Yeah. So.
And then World League Wrestling.
Yeah.
Their Shut Up and Wrestle tour continues. October 1st in St. Joseph, Missouri at the ROC Fellowship Church Gymnasium. When is October 1st? That's a Saturday, my dude.
That is a Saturday.
And I think my house is in the pre-MLS right now. It's about to go on the market really soon. If it's not sold, I might stay the night Friday night and then go to the Shut Up and Wrestle tour the next day.
You should. You should.
Take advantage of having a house up in St. Joseph, Missouri, as long as I can.
You should,
before it
because
gets sold.
WLW, they announced the Shut Up and Wrestle tour, and they announced St. Joe was going to be the next city they go to. We didn't think it was going to take, as long as it has, but if you remember, we both didn't go to the Shut Up and Wrestle tour in Kansas City. That happened on my twin boy's 4th birthday party, so I was unable to attend that. And it's funny because October 1st is my cousin's twin's 1st birthday party. So if we go, it's going to be a very long day for me. But if you can just head up to St. Joe, spend that Friday night, go over to the ROC Community Center. Hey, man. See some WLW. See Derek Stone, our former guest of the show, Raheem De La Suede, Leland Race.
Absolutely. Greg says they are kicking Chase out of his house. He says, guys, we really need to subscribe to this channel to support this poor man. Yes, hit the subscribe button and absolutely support as much as you can. Definitely need all the support I can get. So before we get off the subject of, we're about to go to KCXW, but this dude has been bugging me ever since we started the stream. He wants to show everybody, and I told him I'd let him. So this dude,
we're getting a special guest here.
So this dude, here, let me take off my filter.
Yeah, unblur your.
Unblur my background here. All right, so this dude was picking on Evangelistico the whole match, and like if you guys have seen Guardians of the Galaxy, when Rocket Raccoon kept talking about taking that guy's arm, that's exactly how this dude was. Every single time he saw Evangelistico, he was like, I'm gonna get that hat. I want that gold hat. And then at the end of the match, he got his golden hat. So he wanted to show everybody. So I
put my name on it.
Yeah, he put his name on it. So
this is he is the official, other than Brian J. Bebe, he's the official 3rd member of the I-70 Hot Tag, because he put in some work at Horseman Country, handing out our flyers.
He did.
And yeah. He was putting us over the entire night.
Took his hat at his manager's hat at the end and gave it to me.
Yep. The guy who he was supporting at the show, or the Evangelistico was managing somebody, and he got beat, and he got mad at Evangelistico and wound up stealing his hat and then giving it to Dimitri. So, but Josh was. I forgot, you can't hear Josh because I got the headphones on. So Josh was saying that you are the 3rd honorary member or the 4th, whichever. You and Brian J can have a hardcore match to figure that out. But you are the 4th honorary member of the I-70 Hot Tag because of all the work you put in at Horseman Country handing out the flyers. So he made sure that nobody left without a flyer. Some big jerks threw a couple away, and we were talking about going and finding them and making sure they got their flyers back. So
all 474 flyers he handed out. So yeah, he handed out 474 flyers. So that kid was promoting the I-70 Hot Tag all night. So
yeah,
good stuff.
Yep. So KCXW Destiny on October 15th. As of right now, there is only 9 tickets left for the front row. Get them before they're gone, guys. We expect this event to sell out. They sold out their last show, and on this show they're going to have a limited edition 2002 KCXW Destiny T-shirt, and they've stated that once these are gone, they're gone. They won't make them anymore. Yep. So KCXW is doing they're making some strides. So they're making a lot of progress. So
yeah, and that's another event, and that's happening on October 15th. That's another event you and I are going to be going to. So the for sure's right now are the upcoming shows that we're for sure going to go to. Glory Pro, September 25th. Journey Pro, September 30th. And KCXW, October 15th. Those are the 3 for sure's coming up in the next month and a half. So with a couple sprinkled in there, maybe, there's a Sedalia in there that possibly could happen. I don't see it happening with so many going. We agreed with this podcast that I was going to go to one of these shows a month. It's starting to turn into 2. It's starting to turn into a little bit more. We did this podcast one night a week. Now I'm doing it 2 nights a week. Every once, most of the time. So it's adding up a little bit. So. Yeah. I'm just thinking for sure those are the 3, and if we can get a 4th in there, that'd be fantastic. Hopefully a WLW or a any other Anarchy maybe.
Yep.
Or the one down in Springfield, the Show Me Wrestling's happening in Springfield as well. So
yeah, or Space Cowboy Jason Jones,
Mid States. Sedalia for New Breed. We got some in Kansas. I'm just focusing on Missouri, not no disrespect. Not a KCXW. XWE is over in Leavenworth with the KWA. So we're gonna make them out. It's just time consuming for just 2 people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah. Then another match announcement for Show Me Pro Wrestling.
Your boy.
Yeah, Eugene. Versus Brad Skimmelhorn. Eugene had a very unique. Eugene had a very unique interview with Eric Bischoff on Bischoff's podcast.
He did.
Where he talked to Bischoff about representation that he presented to handicapped people back in the early 2000s when he was on TV. So very interesting. I wonder how much Eric Bischoff had to pay for that interview.
Oh, he's broke now. He's got to be broke.
Yeah,
gotta be.
Yeah,
gotta be.
They're coming to take Eric's. They're coming to take Eric's ranch. He wrote a hot check to interview Big Money Eugene.
Big Money Eugene.
Anyways, I'm gonna shut up before I get us in trouble. Anyways, WLW, Camaro Jackson promo. He goes 1-on-1 with Leland Race on September 10th. To tell you guys how excited we are. Camaro Jackson was just in CSW. We know Camaro Jackson from, St. Louis Anarchy, all around Kansas City. So we are huge Camaro Jackson fans. And if you don't know who Camaro Jackson is, definitely look him up because he's killing it right now. So
he's also, he's doing some work because he not only was he in CSW, but he's also challenging for the Crown of Glory Championship for Glory Pro. And I'm just making sure I'm not jumping ahead here. We've already announced that one last week, so we're good. The Crown of Glory Championship for Mike Outlaw. We're going to be in attendance for that. We're going to see Mike Outlaw versus Camaro Jackson. Dude, that's going to be a hell of a main event for that championship. So, but that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about Glory Pro. We're not talking about CSW. We're going back to WLW. This is the third WLW topic. And you know why? Because WLW is the next event coming up in our area, September 10th. He posted a promo from his opponent, or for his opponent, Leland Race. We're going to play it now.
Y'all know where I'm at. I'm at the Muscle Tower holding it down by myself. Leland. Next Saturday, we go at it again. The last time you stepped in the ring with me, I broke your neck. But nah, man, I respect that. That was career threatening. You could have ended your career. Could have been over. But nah. That was with the help of the Empire, though. And I ain't with them. I don't mess with Derek Stone or Miles Mayhem or Burrito. It's just me, the quad father. So, I'm gonna do things fair and square. See you Saturday, Leland!
Leland Race versus Camaro Jackson.
I like it, man.
Love it.
I like who does their graphics too. That looks clean. I like it a lot.
Yeah, these graphics are fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And Camaro Jackson's going to be on the I-70 hot tag in the middle of September. I don't have that off the top of my head, but it is going to be a I-70 hot tag, so it is going to be a Thursday night. So 2 weeks away, I believe. So let me get this up so I can – there it is. September 15th. Camaro Jackson will be on the I-70 hot tag. So
Nice.
yeah, that'll be just after the event, right? Yeah, that'll be 5 days after. So we'll see. We'll talk to him about his match and see if he see what he thinks about his victory against Leland Race.
There you go. This next event or this next thing, this is super cool, guys. We will have the opportunity to talk about something really special with Glory Pro, ludicrous speed at the pageant too. Josh, why don't you tell all of our viewers about it?
Yeah, so we kind of hinted at it. If you joined the stream last night, we kind of hinted toward what we were going to do, and we still can't get in too much detail what's happening here. But next week on the I-70 hot tag on September 8th, we're going to have Darian Bankston on. But we're also going to officially announce a match for that event. So they're posting their matches, pretty regularly, but we're going to get to announce I believe it's going to be their final match. They've got most of their matches already announced. We've got Sunny Kiss. We've got, different matches that's already been there. Camaro Jackson's going to challenge for the title, but we're going to get that. I think we're going to get that final match in the I-70 hot tag. You're going to hear it first here, just like we did for CSW, the final match for Horseman Country. I think this is going to be the final match for Glory Pro at the pageant too. So tune in next week, guys. We're gonna make that announcement. Can't give you any details on who it's going to be, but it's going to happen here on September 8th. So
September 8th, the I-70 hot tag. We'll be announcing Glory Pro's final match for their event in September. So make sure you're here next week. That's next week, dude.
That's next week, dude. Yeah. 2 in a row. We're off Monday, guys, and we're back on the 8th.
Yep.
Speaking of, I'm going out of order here. Speaking of the 8th, who we got on the 8th on the I-70 hot tag? The guest. Sorry, I'm going out of order here.
Yeah,
but what's our guest on the I-70 hot tag?
Darian Bankston. Yep. Very excited.
If you guys have never met Darian, if you've never talked to this guy, he is a super down to earth, humble, fantastic professional wrestler. And we couldn't be more excited to talk to him. This is one of the top guys when we first started this him and Kenny Alfonso both. And we got Kenny on later in the month, but these are the two guys that we thought that we wanted to get on the show, as and we're finally getting them both within a couple weeks of each other. So and they had a hell of a match at Journey Pro Daytona Beach Bash, like against each other.
Yes.
That was the show stealer for me. So it's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. And then on September 12th, the pit stop comes back. We are going to have New Blood Wrestling's women's champion, or New Breed Wrestling women's champion, Shy Lynn on. So that'll be exciting to get the pit stop back up on the 12th and sit down with Shy Lynn. I know Dean Houston has been clamoring for this for quite some time, and I know Dean will be very excited to watch that show. And
Yeah.
then, as we found out on last night's episode of the Hot Tag, that gear she's wearing belonged to our guest last night. So
The glasses
astonishing,
and the jacket. Yeah.
belonged to Astonishing Austin. So shout out to Astonishing Austin for letting Shylin wear his gear.
I don't think he let her. I think she just kind of
Yeah, I
took it.
So, guys, if you're still here, if you're still watching, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for hitting the follow button, hitting the share button, all the stuff. I cannot thank you guys enough. Josh and I have talked about for a long time that we're having a blast doing this. So Josh has a sick baby at home, and Josh was still like, "Yo, if I can be on tonight, I want to be on tonight." So didn't want to miss it, and that just kind of lets you know how much fun we're having doing this. So some upcoming wrestling events. Like we talk about, World League Wrestling presents Stars and Stripes. You're going to see the Leland Race, Camaro Jackson in action, and you're also going to see Derek Stone in action as well. And then on September 10th, Mid Missouri Wrestling Alliance, Fight for Destiny. Shylин's going to be in action there. And then Josh, why don't you tell us about those September 17th shows?
Yeah, so we got two of them. One in Sedalia, Missouri for New Breed Wrestling. Friends Make Better Enemies. Superstar Steve is going to take on Derek McQuinn in a street fight. Austin could not have said better things about Superstar Steve on last night's episode. So that should be a fun match. Also on September 17th, Journey Pro is going to have a free event in Edwardsville. I said that right? Edwardsville, Kansas, called Autumn Fest. So the graphic showed Jeremy Wyatt, showed Arjun Singh. I believe the Howlets were both on that graphic as well. They have not announced really any matches or anything for that card yet, but it's free. So if you guys are in and around Edwardsville, Kansas, or in the Kansas City area on the 17th, hit them up. If you're in Sedalia on the 17th or Columbia, Warrensburg, anywhere around Sedalia, go to New Breed and check them out because that's going to be a hell of a card as well.
Absolutely. September 25th, the show that Josh and I are going to in St. Louis at Glory Pros at the Pageant 2, Ludicrous Speed. Danhausen's going to be there, Sonny Kiss, Matt Seidel. They're all scheduled to be there. The card is out. The card is stacked. Like Josh said, stay tuned next week. We're going to be announcing the last match, or what we think is the last match. And then September 30th, there's no show name, there's no venue yet, but Journey Pro is hosting a live event. And what we do know is there's going to be a 6-man tag, 3-on-3. The Howlets against the Reckoning. And the Reckoning is Jeremy Wyatt, Luke Langley, and Jay Fowler. So very, very excited for that match. Like we talked about, the Howlets came through with Micah at the last event, challenged him, a bunch of expletive words in there. So,
I'm interested to see because the Howlets are one of the prolific tag teams in our area, and here in the next month, we haven't found out when CSW is going to hold their next event, but we did find out at the event that we're going to get a tag team match to end the Howlets versus the Premier's feud. Or what we think is going to be the end. I'm assuming it's the end.
Yeah.
Then the Howlets are going to do the same thing in Journey Pro against the Bitch Brigade, the Reckoning. So the Howlets are ending two major feuds here in Kansas City. So it's really interesting to, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next for the Howlets. Mike is going to be wearing the black, I'm assuming. So they're going to have some stuff with them in Journey Pro. Interesting to see what's going to happen in CSW with the Howlets as well.
Absolutely. And that does it for the preview on the upcoming shows. We already talked about the upcoming podcast shows. Sir, I don't have anything left.
Nope. We got done in under 2 hours tonight. We were in overtime last night, but gave you a little bit of time back tonight.
That's right. Gave you a little bit of time back tonight. We appreciate everybody that came out and enjoyed us tonight. Guys, do not forget to go hit the follow buttons on the social medias, especially now that we've hit a goal on Twitch with affiliate. We're trying to hit 1,000 followers on TikTok. So make sure you go hit the follow button on TikTok. Josh, you wanna let everybody know where to follow the I-70 Hot Tag and yourself?
Yeah, you can follow us on all the social media platforms you can think of: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I haven't been just like you have. I'm kind of in that lull on TikTok where I'm not posting nearly as much.
I've been active as hell, brother.
You have been now. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But I'm kind of I'm kind of going where you were at, where I'm not posting. I'm posting up promotional videos and stuff like that, but I'm not doing like my, the 1 minute count or the 1 minute rundown like I used to do. So I'll get back into that. TikTok is a growing platform, and I think if we can both get to 1,000 followers on that I-70 Hot Tag and CR Media, you're way closer than I am than the I-70 account is.
I got 300. I got 300. I got 300 left to go. That's what I meant.
Yeah. So you're at 700-ish, and I'm at about 200, almost to 200. So at the I-70. So give it, if you follow CR Media, follow the I-70 and vice versa. Chase posts great content on there as well. And YouTube is, we're trying to post some exclusive content on there. So give us a follow, like, share, subscribe on that as well. So, yep.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we thank you again, everybody who joined us tonight. Thank you to everybody who stuck with us. Again, cannot say thank you enough, guys. We greatly appreciate it. For myself, what's that?
I don't know. Was that the whole? That was not like that the whole time. It couldn't have been.
I think it was because I refreshed when you were playing a promo video. So for whatever reason, I'm glad you brought that up. We probably should wait to talk about this backstage, but anyways, for whatever reason, every single time you'd play a video, it wouldn't play on my end. So I was just looking at a blank screen.
Weird.
Yeah. So I tried to refresh, and I think that's what happened was since you were the last one to come in, it had your name defaulted on there. Anyways.
For Josh with the I-70 Hot Tag over there, and for Josh with the I-70 Hot Tag here.
Good fight and good night.